Welcome to Airborne for Tuesday from AirVenture 2017 at Wittman Regional Airport. I'm Laura Hudson. On our program today, able flight pilots receive their wings. There's a rocket on the field at AirVenture, and Dynon-Certified. Those stories and more are coming up on this AirVenture 2017 edition of Airborne. No one who goes to Oshkosh remains surprised for long at all the amazing things they see at Wittman Field. But reusable rockets? A&N's Jim Campbell went over to Blue Origin to see why they came to AirVenture 2017.
When we're thinking about places to take New Shepard, our beautiful rocket here and the capsule mock-up, coming to Oshkosh for us was obvious, to us anyway. Think about space. Space is the second half of aerospace. We think of aviation as an industry that we hold hands with. And in fact, it's a place where we have our foundations. We wouldn't be here if we didn't have 100 years of fantastic aviation engineering before us. Not only that, but we like to think that, maybe, in fact, we are in this pioneering moment with New Shepard. And we can look back, in 100 years, and hopefully we'll be coming back here to Oshkosh. But to be able to take our historic rocket, to put it among these historic and modern aircraft here at Oshkosh, to us makes all sorts of sense. And also you get the people that have the most passion out here for anything aerospace.
Overall, how do you sum up what you've learned in flying this vehicle 5 times?
We've learned, how to launch, how to land. We were the first to take a rocket over 100 kilometers into space and land it. And then also the first to reuse a rocket, prove that reusability, not one subsequent time, but 4 more subsequent times for a total of 5 flights with this rocket. But also, how do you do the refurbishment? We talk about reusability, reusable rockets, that's a hot term these days, but at Blue Origin, we talk about operational reusability. We don't want to tear down the entire rocket and build it back up again, we might as well start anew. What we want to do is be able to build into the rocket from the very beginning, things that'll make us do a quick turnaround. So while we're building, daily turnarounds into the rocket, we've learned how to pick up that pace. Obviously, we're not going to start at that, but we're picking up our pace in between flights. And we're learning as we go. The data is invaluable, and I should say that, we've got several flights to go before we put humans on board. We're not in a rush. I mean, of course, we all want to get up there, but we want to make sure that we understand the system fully. What does it take to turn around a rocket and make sure that it's holding up in between flights. But so far, this beauty made it through the escape test, which is just about one of the most intense things you can throw at this rocket, and she came back to land, so.
Obvious question, where do you go from here?
Blue Origin, our motto, gradatum ferociter, step by step ferociously. I think it really speaks to who we are in particular because we're a patient company. We've been at this for several years, right? We're a patient company because we want to get it right. And it's all part of a grander plan, right? Our vision is millions of people living and working in space. And so we're starting with the suborbital system, New Shepard, again, teaching ourselves how do you launch, how do you land, how do you do the refurbishment, how do you take people into space and bring them home safely. And we're taking those lessons and we're already rolling them into New Glenn, which is our orbital system, which will be online 2020. Initially, we're going to start with commercial payloads. So our first customer signed up is Eutelsat. We announced that in March. We've also got an MOU with a satellite constellation company called OneWeb. So we'll be flying them first, and then we'll be putting people on board. So step by step, ferociously, we want to see the millions of people living and working in space. And this is our path.
Later, Jim Campbell talked to Dynon's Mike Schofield about the company's latest foray into the certified avionics market.
Dynon-Certified is our new line of certified avionics, affordable avionics for type certificated aircraft, led by our flagship Skyview HDX system.
So what's available now, where can it go, and more important, how much?
So we are on the cusp of getting our STCs for both the Cessna 172 and the Beechcraft B-58 Baron. It is a complete integrated avionics system. So that includes primary flight instruments, engine instruments, mapping and flight planning, ADS-B in and out, Mode-S transponder, and even autopilot. We expect to be able to install an aircraft later this year. The equipment that we have in the Cessna 172 is about $16,000 worth of kit, and that includes all of the features and functions I just mentioned. And we expect that installation will be able to be done a lot quicker than in conventional upgrades because we have the system that's already tuned for quick installation by home builders. We hope that we can get installations like we have in the Cessna 172 in the low 20,000s installed.
Outstanding. What airplanes are targeted next, and will we see a full AML on this?
We're actually starting technically with an AML STC. It'll only have a small amount of airplanes on them at the beginning. We'll be expanding continuously, similar to what we did with the EFIS D10A. People can go to dynon.aero/certified, click the request updates link, tell us about your aircraft. Of course, we'll be prioritizing aircraft by popularity and what's available. And of course, we hope to get just a really broad AML really quickly.
Piper President and CEO Simon Caldecott said at AirVenture on Monday that a possible material specification issue had cropped up with the M600, leading to a precautionary grounding of the fleet of 36 delivered airplanes. Caldecott said that there was a material thickness issue with the aft wing spar that was discovered in one airplane that had been delivered to a dealer. Out of an abundance of caution, an inspection of the spar was recommended for all the airplanes. The inspection involves draining the fuel from the fuel tank and measuring the thickness of the spar in the affected area on both the wings of the airplane. Caldecott said, a service bulletin has been issued to address the issue. After the break, an update on the latest engine from Rotax on Airborne Unlimited from Aero-TV.
Alpha Systems AOA products are available for experimental, pressurized, and certified aircraft. President Marc Becker notes that there is nothing more rewarding than designing a product that helps save someone's life. To see how Alpha Systems AOA technology can make you a safer pilot, check out www.alphasystemsaoa.com.
Since its inception, Redbird Flight Simulations has been dedicated to developing new training technologies and processes in an ongoing effort to make aviation safer, more affordable, and more accessible. Consider Redbird's flagship flight training device, the FMX, a superior quality, full-motion, feature-rich advanced aviation training device priced with real-world flight training organizations in mind. With standard features that are anything but standard, such as wraparound visuals, a fully enclosed cockpit, quick change configurations, scenario-based training compatibility, and of course, an electric motion platform, the FMX serves up a level of realism that is simply unavailable in other training devices on the market. For more information on Redbird flight simulations, the Redbird FMX, and Redbird's entire line of flight training devices, visit www.redbirdflightsimulations.com.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
Welcome back to Airborne, coming to you this week from EAA AirVenture 2017 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. If you've seen something around Oshkosh that's really cool, let us know with the hashtag OSH17Cool on your social media post. Rotax has had its new 915 IS engine in the works for quite a while, but the company says that they are closing in on European and U.S. certification. A&N's Tom Patton got an update on the engine from Marc Becker from Rotax.
So where are you now actually in the process? What's kind of your timeline from here at Oshkosh going forward?
Well, as I said, we're finalizing a few more tests with it. Then there's a lot of paperwork to be done. That's actually what's following now. And then you provide all that information to the authorities. There will be a little bit of conversation forth and back to understand all the results. And that's pretty much it.
What's the advantage over a 912 IS or a 914 to wait for this new engine?
Yeah. Well, with 912 IS, we're looking at 100 horses, and we're looking at fully injected, already modern ECU-controlled system. The 914 is a still carbureted, already turbocharged system. So actually what we did, we took the best of both of them together and said, okay, and actually now we have a little bit more extra horsepower. So now about 35 horsepower more than an IS and about 20 horsepower more than a 914. The LSA rule today calls out for a very simple to fly aircraft. Having a constant speed propeller where you have to put the lever in order to have a best prop setting actually does add extra workload. So in the LSA category, you can't have that. Where we're going with the single lever control is that we want to have all that advantages out of the constant speed prop, which is mainly durable and more power out of all conditions at an optimized setting, which actually adds safety because you have that extra power if you need it, especially on takeoff on whatever circumstances you run into. With the simplicity the LSA calls out for. So what happens, we have a single lever control which you control the power with. All the rest, like the prop setting or the back-in-time carburetor setting, which we don't have because we have injected, is done automatically by the engines.
The FAA's 2020 deadline for ADS-B equipage will be here before we know it. But what comes next for the system? A&N's Jim Campbell spoke with Avidyne's Dan Schwinn about the latest development at the company, some new software updates, and of course, the future of ADS-B.
Dan, opening day, Oshkosh 2017. A number of revisions for products that you've been working on for a fair amount of time, and of course a continual evolution, and some hints of things to come. What's new for Avidyne?
Well, the newest product in our big seller right now is our IFD 550, which just came out a little bit earlier this year. It's outsold our projections very substantially, so we've been in a back order situation for the last few months as we try and keep up with about 5x the demand as we thought we were going to have for it. We'll be out of that in August, and the products will ship our full backlog and so forth. And so that's been our big product for 2017. The software upgrade that came out for the IFD series 10.2, which came out earlier this year, added synthetic vision not only to the 550 but to every IFD that's ever been made, and you get an exocentric, meaning behind the airplane view of synthetic vision. That's something unique to Avidyne, and people are absolutely loving it. With the IFD 550, you also get an built-in attitude indicator, and you get the out-the-window view, which is really nice, but you get synthetic vision on every single product. So that's the big new upgrade that's now out there. The other major initiative we have, which is consistent with lots of other players, is really to make sure that ADS-B is completely across our product line. And Avidyne's been making products for 20 years, and by the end of this year, pretty much everything that we ever made will have whatever the appropriate ADS-B functionality that is needed for it.
And did I hear the suggestion that Avidyne at some point will enter the amateur-built experimental market?
Well, I didn't say specifically the amateur-built experimental, but we have this sort of a relieved certification, which used to be experimental, but now it includes the Class 1 aircraft. And we're looking very closely at that to see if there are products that Avidyne currently makes that are designed for inclusion in any Part 23 aircraft and even Part 25, and that kind of drives some of the cost. And whether or not we might make a product in the same category that's limited to the lighter airplanes and so that would be experimental as well as Class 1 and is substantially less expensive. Because I think that's clearly what the market is saying it wants right now.
We all want aviation to be accessible to everyone and to not let physical challenges get in the way of realizing one's dream to fly. That's the mission of Able Flight, which presented wings to 8 new pilots this morning at Theater in the Woods.
Well, here at AirVenture 2017, we honored our 8 new pilots that we trained this year, both at Purdue University and at our new training program, Ohio State University. And the program worked beautifully once again. We're now up to 60 pilots that are licensed, more than that in ratings and certificates, and it's our 11th year. We do this with the support of a lot of folks who are here at AirVenture as vendors. They're our sponsors. I won't list all the names, there are too many, but these are the people who make it happen. I would encourage someone who might be interested in our program to look carefully at our website, to think about flying themselves if they have a physical disability. It is very possible. We've proven it over and over and over again. So I encourage them to look at the site, look at our frequently asked questions, look at the scholarship page, and apply for one of our scholarships. They could be up here on this stage next year receiving their Able Flight wings.
After the break, Jim Campbell and Jack Pelton hold a conversation about ATC privatization.
We started with a 14-inch longer fuselage, high-end interior finishes, Garmin G3000 flight deck, and a 4th window to give additional natural light to the cabin. We then redesigned the wings and horizontal tail, increasing the wingspan by a full 4 feet. Welcome to the jet life.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
The dream is real, a truly affordable personal jet aircraft. The Subsonics Personal Jet Kit is priced at only $42,000. Kit plus engine is still under $100K. Add instruments, upholstery, and paint and you're flying. It's time to put your money where your bucket list is. Learn more at sonicsaircraft.com.
Welcome back to Airborne Unlimited on Aero-TV, coming to you this week from AirVenture 2017 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. It's the elephant in the room, the massive threat posed to GA by the whims of an electoral system that not only does not understand aviation, but seems destined to prove it. A&N's Jim Campbell and EAA's Jack Pelton have a no-holds-barred discussion of the ATC privatization threat.
Privatization. Let them have it.
We have gone in great coordination with the other associations to make sure that this week, everywhere you go, you will see a modernization, no privatization banner, poster, pins. We'll have areas where people can actually contact their elected representatives right here on site. We're going to make sure we keep that message strong and in front of our elected officials to know that as a united community, we are really, really against this idea that they're proposing. And we hope, in the end, it might influence some people. And I would hope hope's not probably the right thing. It better, because if they don't listen to, over 500,000 people that are, have a vested interest in our national airspace, then they're really tuned out in Washington.
How do you feel the fight is going at this point?
We clearly, our voice is being heard, but I just don't like the tactics I see on the other side. I think the politics is getting to be something that I'm ashamed of. The strong arming that's going on, the trading of not staying focused on this issue, but taking some of our junior elected officials and some of our other people and being almost downright threatening, saying we're not going to support you on the other things that are important to you, just to get a vote. And I know you know that goes on, and you see it in the back. But when you hear some of these people being put in really terrible, compromising positions, I think the greatest example is AMA. We had quite a dust-up with AMA this week, where they elected to change their position from being supportive of not privatizing to privatizing. So got on the phone and talked to their leadership and, wait a minute, what's going on here, guys? And they got a call from Congressman Schuster's office or the committee, I'm not sure exactly which one, that basically laid down the gauntlet and said, you have 24 hours, and here are the things that you need to have done in the next 24 hours. You need to take your logo off of the General Aviation press release that had all of the united front of the 114 or 117 groups. We need that removed immediately, and you need to send out a letter to all of your membership saying contact your congressman and encourage them to vote yes for privatization. Or we will remove in this bill that's already out of committee all of the things that were protections and necessary for the model aviation community. I mean, that is how nasty and hardcore this is getting.
I've never found the move toward privatization of any government function to invoke such passion in any elected official, outside of the fact that at this point maybe it's just more ego than anything else. They've staked reps on it and off they're planning to go, but I just don't understand the vehemence behind it.
I don't understand that as much as I probably should. I do know the history, though, and the history is very clear that the committee chairman for the Transportation Infrastructure, Chairman Schuster, has taken up the battle on behalf of the airlines, A for A. I mean, that's been well documented over the last last reauthorization bill. He is definitely carrying the water for that group and has just said, I'm going to make this happen, and general aviation is being completely misrepresented. Even to the latest, I think this week we were told we were a special interest group, and they shouldn't be or being interested in what a special interest group has. We're not a special interest group. We're the backbone of aviation in this country, where every commercial airline pilot, other than coming through the military, comes through general aviation. So let's make sure we understand the facts.
Right there, you've got a camera. The people out there in aviation, what do they need to do right now? What do they need to do in the near future? how do we not only win this for now, but win this for the future? Give them their marching orders. This is your chance.
You know, right now we need to have everybody involved in aviation contacted their elected officials, both congressmen and senators, and they can do that by going to the EA website, which has a Rally Congress, very easy one-click button that will give you the ability to send a letter or the ability to call them. And at this point, you need to call those offices and leave messages that their continued ability to stay in office and have us support them in the next election cycle is going to be determined on those individuals voting no. They need to have their congressmen understand they have to vote no, because at the end of the day, if this happens, they're going to have some of this on their hands.
If you're interested in hearing more of this interview about ATC privatization, search a raw, uncut discussion on ATC privatization on Aero-TV's YouTube channel. Tomorrow, Jack and Jim will discuss STCs and the future of power plant and airframes. Well, that's our program for today. We'll be back tomorrow with a look at the day's events from EAA AirVenture 2017 at Wittman Regional Airport in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I'm Laura Hudson. Thanks for watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and do check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. See you tomorrow for the greatest aviation event on or over the earth, AirVenture.